Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking and diving into one of the main physical reasons where you are still struggling with binge eating. So stay tuned. Welcome to Stop Binging and Start Living. And from the title, this is exactly what I'm going to be helping you through this series in this podcast through nourishment, movement, and mindset. Because when you understand where these habits are coming from and how to actually create a change, a positive change for the long term, you can start living your life today by creating a life free from binge eating. So I am so excited to have you here, and let's dive into today's episode. Now you are in for a treat. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the main reason, the physical reasons why you are struggling with binge eating. And this is actually the first step that I talk to all my clients. And this is the foundational work that we need to do together before we get into any other work together. Okay, so if you're new to my podcast, my name is Dina Merhbi. I am a registered dietitian, NLP coach, and as well a yoga and mindfulness teacher. And my aim is to help you stop binging and start living. Why? I struggled with binge eating when there was not really the social media or even like experts in the online space helping out. And as well, for the past 20 years, I've been helping people create that shift through nutrition, through mindset, through movement, and through so many other things I'm going to be sharing with you in this season of this podcast. However, before you start just binge watching everything or binge listening to everything, this is the thing that I want you to know is that there are physical, emotional, and psychological reasons, and even social, environmental reasons why you're struggling with binge eating. And I always talk about the physical aspect first, because the physical aspect is something that is actually within our control to create a positive change in. We can't always change our environment. Our mindset can take sometimes a little bit of time to catch up. However, the way that we eat and the way that we see food is fully within your control. Not control restriction, but in terms of knowing what you can create actually of a positive change to make that change for you in the right here and the right now. So this is where I start with all my clients, where we talk about the physical things. Now, again, there's going to be future episodes talking more about different physical reasons. So we're going to be talking today about blood sugar stability, but I'm also going to be talking to you about malnutrition, a term that I actually created called first world malnourishment that we have that has created a rise in binge eating. And as well, we're going to be talking about stress, sleep, and so many other things in the physical sense that actually increase your cravings, no matter how hard you try to control it as much as you can. But let's simmer down. Let's talk about today's very important topic. Now, listen to this first time, and I'm going to give you some tips at the end that you can actually take out your notepad and get things started. Now, I want you to see binge eating as a response to something that your body's telling you. We sometimes think binge eating is a lack of motivation, it's like a food addiction, you're stuck with it for life. You're not. Binge eating is a symptom to something else on the inside that's happening, or even on the outside that's happening. And very often, what I've actually have created with a lot of my clients is that if we're able to take care of the physical reasons, your body's actually calmer and your mind is calmer to be able to start working on the emotional and the social reasons. It's really the foundational work that I really start with everybody. Now, what do you think is the physical reason is? You might be thinking, maybe you need to restrict more. Maybe it's macro, micro. However, what happens is that very often the main reason why you're binge eating, the main reason why many people are binge eating, it's actually because they're under eating. Does this sound familiar to you? You start your day, you're like, okay, today's going to be a good day. Today I'm going to follow my plan. I'm going to follow my diet. If I'm hungry, I'm just going to eat vegetables. I'm just going to drink my water. I'm just going to push through it, right? So you're starting off okay, you're pushing through it, but then 3 o'clock comes along or the evening comes along, and then you are so hungry that you start eating a little something and you kind of fall off track. You end up eating so much more than you expected, and you're going maybe into compulsive eating, emotional eating, binge eating. Then you tell yourself, oh my God, what did I do? I binge ate, I ate so much. If I want to see changes in the scale, if I want to see changes in my clothing, if I want to lose the weight that I gained through binge eating, or I want to feel better in my body, I need to really make sure I can stick to that diet, because the more I can stick to it, maybe then my body won't want the cravings, and then I'm going to lose the weight, and then I'm not going to be so depressed about it, and then I'm not going to be wanting the binge eating. I went through that pattern. A lot of my clients went through that pattern, and it might resonate with you. And very often we think that if I diet, maybe then I'm going to stop binge eating. However, dieting, under eating is one of the leading reasons why you are binge eating. Because to fix the binge eating, if I can say that, is by actually giving your body what it needs so that physically it doesn't have that craving to eat. And here is the thing. From the moment you are born, your body has these signals, hunger and fullness. It sends the signals when you're hungry, it sends the signals when you're full. And what happens to a baby when they're hungry? They're crying, okay? And they don't stop crying until they get their needs met. And even though we're not babies anymore, our system and our body and our mind, it's still the same. When you put your body in a starvation, in a diet, anything in terms of restricting where you're still feeling hungry after, your body is like, oh my God, this is not enough. And it sends signals. It actually increases your hunger signals. It actually tells your system, your brain, like, hey, I didn't eat enough. And at one point, when there's all these signals going and going and going, what happens? As soon as you kind of open up the door to eat a little bit, it's like the floodgates come out, right? You start eating, you're like, okay, I'm going to eat a little bit more. I'm hungry. And then your body's like, oh my God, she's opened the door. It's now or never. And then your hunger signals kind of, and it feels like overwhelming. And also on the other end, you might end up eating and eating, and you feel like a bottomless pit because your body was starving all day. And it kind of shuts down the fullness signal because it's like, oh my God, it's now or never. This is the moment for me to bring in as much food as possible because I don't know when she's going to be eating again. Now, maybe your brain, you've decided you know when you're going to be eating again, but your body doesn't. Because dieting actually is a famine state for the body. And famine, unintentional or intentional, causes the same symptoms, which is increased hunger signals, decreased fullness signals, lower metabolism, and cravings, overeating, binge eating. When that window opens, that door opens, like, whoom, how can I get it all in? Now, I want you to sit this with for a second. Imagine if your body was eating regularly during the day and you're not starving. And if you're not starving, you're able to focus. And if you're able to focus, you actually can take time to prepare your dinner meal. If you're able to prepare your dinner meal, you might be calmer and actually eating it slowly. Now, again, there's many other reasons why we might be binge eating. Again, more physical reasons, emotional, but the first thing that is going to be the biggest breakthrough is not changing your mindset, is not creating food habituation, being comfortable with all the foods, is making sure that you get your body out of that famine state. That can be intentional through the dieting or unintentional, skipping meals all day because you're so busy, but then when the night comes, everything is available, and then you go and you eat everything in sight. That's why this is the first thing that I talk to with all my clients, no matter what they come. This is like the past 20 years. It's really the first thing is that to be able to work through the other facets of what's going on with your binge eating, stress eating, compulsive eating, we need to make sure that we're actually taking care of the physical reasons, which is actually the easiest thing to tackle. And when you look at the easiest thing, what I tell people, you need to eat your way to food freedom. Because you cannot create a lasting change if your body and your mind is starving all the time. And here's another thing, a little bit of an opening to another episode that's going to be coming out, is that when you're not eating during the day a lot, and then you're binge eating at night, then you're not sleeping very well. And did you know that when you don't sleep well, the next day it actually increases your cravings? Not because you're burning more calories, just because your body's exhausted and it needs more calories to stay awake. But then what happens with that? We're craving more high sugar, high fat, high salt foods. And very often this could be the trigger foods for you. So everything is really together. Everything rolls together. And when we're starting in terms of, I can say, rehabilitation, nutritional, emotional, environmental rehabilitation to help you stop binging and start living, it is really about, okay, how can I start with the foundational work to help me be able to be more focused, energized, and strong to get through all the other work I need to go through? And it is all about getting your body out of the starvation, undernourishment state that you're doing, which very often is called first world malnourishment, because we're consciously deciding not to eat certain foods, to not binge eat, to hopefully lose weight, but then I binge eat, and then we gain weight, and then the whole circle goes around. And how do we break that cycle? Is by stopping the diet. Dieting leads to binge eating. Stopping the dieting and knowing how to eat to keep your blood sugar stable is actually the first step to help you create that food freedom, to be able to really create a life free from binge eating. So, what is blood sugar stability? So, what happens is that blood sugar, yes, sugar, your body lives off sugar. Okay, it's kind of like these little waves during the day. You eat certain foods, your blood sugar goes up, then it goes down, and then up a little bit hungry, then you eat a little bit more, and then you go a little bit down. So, body calmness is really kind of creating that flow, right? That's like nice, steady wave. This helps you be energized, calm, and actually brings down your binge eating cravings. However, if you're not eating enough, you keep going down, like you keep going down, and the system's like, whoa, this is way too low. Cravings, they push it fully, and then you might actually binge eat. What happens with binge eating? Your blood sugar spikes up, but then it spikes down. So you might actually be going through like roller coasters throughout the day. So imagine yourself being in a roller coaster all day long. It is actually exhausting. It's nauseating and you don't feel good. That's what happens with the way that we're eating. If we're not eating in a regular type of pattern, we are kind of going all over the place. And then we feel like we're doing stuff, but we're not really doing the right stuff for our body. Our aim is to make sure that you are slow and steady, riding the wave, all nice and calm. And when it's calm, less cravings. And when you're calm, we're actually less emotional. When we're calm, we sleep better. When we're calm, we're able to actually interact with somebody without reacting. So it all changes everything. That's why blood sugar stability is one of the key things we want to focus on in the beginning, before anything else. Because you need to make sure your body is calm. Calmness brings change. So, what do you think the first steps are? Not the dieting, not calorie counting. There's a very simple pattern that I want you to follow through. Again, if you feel like I'm going to give you the tips today and you're like, I feel like I need something a little bit personalized, make sure you message me. I actually build plans for my clients and I guide them through better understanding how to eat according to their body, because every single body is very unique. However, just by doing what I'm going to be sharing with you right here, right now, is going to transform. But, little side note, you cannot do this for a day or two. You have to do this for at least 2 weeks to let your body catch up. Okay? When you do something for one day or two, your body still doesn't trust you. It thinks that you're going to go back to the whole roller coaster, dieting, famine, binge eating pattern. You need to keep this pattern for 2 weeks, no matter what. Because when you create this kind of routine every 2 weeks, and I'm going to share with you some beginning tips, you're going to get the benefits. But that's why I say 2 weeks. I say that to all my clients. This is not an overnight thing. You did not develop binge eating overnight. Give yourself time and patience and calm. So it's going to give you some calmness as well. So, few things. Number one, if you have any notepad, get this ready. Number one, you need to eat within the first hour of waking up. I'm not saying you need to have a big breakfast. You need to eat something. Here's a reason why. When you wake up, your body's ready to go conquer the day. And by eating something within that first hour, it has been shown to actually decrease your cravings, wake up your metabolism, and get your body ready for the day. Remember, breakfast, breaking the fast. It's very important. When you go through the day and you kind of have a cup of coffee and you go through the rest of the day, the body's like, whoa, listen, you tell me to do all this and like I have no fuel in my system. It's going to catch up on you. And the way it catches up on you is binge eating. So you need to eat something within that first hour of waking up, something that you feel safe and comfortable having. Even if you're not hungry, just having a bite of something is going to be important. And yes, your coffee does not count as that eating something within the first hour you wake up. Second thing, you need to eat something every 2 to 4 hours. Every person is very different. Usually I say just start every 3 hours just to make kind of something simple for your schedule. But your blood sugar usually dips every 2 to 4 hours. And this depends on every single person. But just kind of go with it in the beginning. Setting a schedule, what time you're going to be eating something, get your schedule around your eating times, put an alarm, and eat something regularly. And that's it. That's the beginning step for you. What this is going to create, which is honestly amazing, is that it's going to get your body back to the pattern it actually wants. It's going to get your body back to the pattern you were born with of eating regularly. And what's important in terms of this is that it's going to help you create stability, that you're always giving your body a little something to flow through. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of a side note with this. You might be like saying, okay, Dina, like this is what my plan is. That's what my diet is. I eat regularly. But are you actually feeling full after? Are you eating something and you feel calm? Are you eating something and you're feeling complete in a certain way? Because it's not about grazing throughout the day or snacking. There is the balance between, is it a snack? Is it a meal? Getting a snack, getting a meal. Now, again, there's all these different examples I can give, but I really want you to start off with just that. Already just doing that is going to be creating a lot of change because you're starting to create your internal eating clock of getting your body used to eating regularly, especially if you're used to skipping meals and skipping snacks. We don't want to go from skipping to dieting. We want to go to bringing a regular eating pattern. This is really going to be your first step. And this is going to help you balance your blood sugar. I'll be sharing more tips as we go along in terms of the season. However, I want you to start with this and do stay tuned. In the next one, I'm going to be talking about something very different, but also in terms of undernourishment, but in a different way. If you think about macro and micronutrients, I'm going to be diving more into that. And that as well is going to help you kind of, how can I say this? Pile one tip to the other to help you kind of create that change. And again, if you feel like you need more support, more personalization to understand really how you should be eating for your body and anything else I can help with, again, don't hesitate to message me to see how we can help work together. And as well, I have an amazing group coaching program called Let's Eat, where you actually have the whole 12-step system that actually helps you energize, activate, and transform your way to stop binging and start living. But if you listen to this episode or you watch me here on YouTube, make sure to re-listen to this. Write the notes. I know simplicity is the key. It doesn't have to be a lot of hoopla to make a change. But remember, dieting actually is the leading cause of binge eating. And to stop binge eating, we need to stop the dieting. So we need to create a more easy pattern of allowing yourself to eat regularly. And very important, eating the first hour you wake up and eating every 2 to 4 hours. And ask for support if you feel like you need that to help you get through this for at least 2 weeks. So on that note, I wish you a beautiful and balanced day. Dina Merhbi here, and I'll catch you in the next episode.